I'm back on my bedroom floor and ready to share some resources with you. Hi everybody, I'm Beck. This is my channel, Talk and Chalk, where I share anything education related that I think will help you in the classroom. And today we're going to talk about the draw, talk, write, share process. I am not an expert in this whatsoever. This is something that I engaged with in professional learning from home in our first lockdown in 2020. So it appealed to me because I was looking at finding ways to support emergent writers. And it was something that just came up in the flood of professional learning we were all engaging in while we were learning from home. Now, when I tapped into this, it was very much obviously delivered around the home learning front. So they were the PL that I engaged in shared some activities around how you could do this at home. And that kind of just led me down a rabbit hole of wanting to learn more. So this stems from a lot of research from Noella Mackenzie. And today I'll show you her blog and some of the articles that she has on there. If you have access to an academic database at all and you can get some of those academic research articles, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of other articles out there around emergent writer pedagogies and processes that will support this as well. But ideally, I really liked it because it's very flexible, it's very adaptable, it allows you to easily differentiate in the classroom, and it really taps into a lot of those emergent writing skills that a lot of our kids don't start kindergarten with. And that could be for a variety of reasons. Third year in a pandemic, it could be. It just could be because a lot of our kids maybe are refugees coming from other countries where they've been dealing with a lot of other issues. We could have a lot of families that just aren't aware. A lot of those early learning skill sets, playing at home, playing with siblings. They could be an only child that haven't had that ability, that access to engage in that type of play with others. Or there could be some kind of OT issues that are preventing their fine motor development before they come to school. Lots of different things that kids come with, even outside of having a pandemic. So it essentially follows exactly what this title is: draw, talk, write, share. It really shifts away from teacher talk to student talk, which means we get to develop oral language. It means we get to develop lots of those turn-taking skills, vocabulary skills, and build that confidence of students. Even in kindergarten, so many kids say, I can't draw. I can't draw. They're starting with that negative mindset. So this is a good way to build confidence as well. Really jump on how great they're doing when they're editing and adding and developing. And even over the last 3 weeks that I've been doing this with Kindy, you can see the improvement just in 3 weeks when we're doing this consistently in the classroom. Now, like I said, very flexible. You can do this so many different ways. So I'm going to give you 4 different programs that I've done. So in 2021, I did this with kindergarten and year 1. So I'm sharing a program that I used with them. I'm giving the Kindy program just to keep it for context because the other ones I'm sharing are Kindy as well. But like I said, easily adaptable. A lot of these things you can do with year 1, year 2, probably even your students who might be struggling in year 3 if you find a way to do it that's age appropriate with your students. And what we're doing in this is deciding what's relevant to the kids, what are the needs of the kids, and adapting each week as we go. So that first week we were doing it, we were just literally trying it to give it a go with Kindy this year in their first experience in school, in their first term in school. And then we reflected, myself and the teachers at the end of the week, and said, well, this is the idea we've got moving forward. How are we going to go moving forward from that? We didn't have lots of best start data because of so many absences with COVID, and the weather has been crazy as well. So we're literally going based on class observations and those interactions that we have in the classroom. Some of our students came from our preschool, so we had a little bit of previous data in terms of how those kids can work with their fine motor skills, with their socializing skills in the classroom, because this talking part can get very daunting for some of them as well. So I'm going to show you the resources that I'm giving you, and then I'll talk quite specifically about how we did it in the classroom and what that looks like. So I will flip to the surface. This is Noella Mackenzie's website. You'll see on here, this is the blog specifically about the draw, talk, write and share process. Lots of information as you read down on here, and I love the fact that she really acknowledges writing is an effortful activity. It's really not a natural process when history, eons of human evolution stems from talking with one another and body language. So she has on here, I'll just a very quick scroll so you can read later. There's some examples on here, some example language, and shows how this process works. And there's examples there that look like they're from different age groups as well. Supporting this is another one of her blogs, which is around understanding and supporting young riders from birth to 8. These are great reads, but like I said, if you can get access to some of those journal articles, I highly recommend doing that. I will also recommend that you take a look at this video from Danesfield School. These guys do a lot of talking when it comes to their writing. They aren't specifically following the draw, talk, write, share process, but there are a lot of elements in it, and you see the success that they have. It's a 3-minute video, and they showcase how they use the gingerbread man as a way to embed lots of play, lots of turn taking, lots of talking, lots of modeling, and how it links into their writing. So it's not explicitly it, but it's got a good example of how these things work. Now, when you go into the Google folder that I share with you, which is the Draw, Talk, Write, Share one. So you can see here, I've got a folder here which has a lot of the Noella Mackenzie files. This should be the link to the website if it works. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 programs. That's 4 weeks of programs there. And then some readings that will support your understanding of this. And these were ones that were all found just by going to Google. They were free, they were not paid or anything like that, so these should all be freely accessible. She provides an observation sheet when you're doing these lessons. So this is her observation protocol. It's got some scripting there. It's got some processes where you can do some observations and an analysis of the text. I've also given you the modified version that I made for our class. And I modified this specifically because I wanted to get a kind of a group of kids in one go. And I just reworded some of the questions to make it a yes or a no, because this is us just getting a snapshot. And this was things like, if they are they talking about their own work or experience? Because we really want to see, are they engaging in that dialogue around what they're doing on the page, or are they just off on a tangent? So this is very similar. It was just modified for what we were doing with my teachers there. So what I'm going to do now is going to a bit more detail about these ones. So we've got dog play, we've got favorite food and ice cream, the fine motor play, and the racetrack. I'm going to start with the racetrack because this was really simple. I'm going to go to my original version here because it looks funny on the screen here. So if I go into racetrack, I've given you some prompt photos that I use. This is the racetrack at our school, and I'm going to open up the program. I'm giving you the Word version of it as well, though, so that you can edit it if you want to. Basic program stuff here. You know what these things are: outcomes, background, content. I've got the literacy progressions here that we're focusing on, and then the ESL scales that we would kind of be working at. Now, I try and keep each lesson to a page. So this is lesson 1, and then I go down I skipped too far there. Lesson 2, lesson 3. And then down the bottom here, there's room for how you're going to assess, register your lesson, and an evaluation on there. Obviously, I'm not giving you those details because that would be pertinent to your class. So learning intentions, assess criteria, resources, blah, blah, blah. You teachers, you know what those things are. The main thing is what this activity actually looks like. So when we go out, we were running around the racetrack. Kids have some races. We do a few different races. We go back to the classroom. The teacher does a quick model drawing of their experience. And I mean quick. I did stick figures, a basic track, and I asked the kids, am I missing any details from my drawing? Who was running near me? Just trying to engage and model that dialogue. And then, the teacher in the room might be like, oh, you were running with me and you ran, or and then I would model things like, oh, thanks for reminding me about adding the grass. A lot of our kids don't like when someone says, oh, you forgot the grass. We really want to model appropriate dialogue when we're doing this. Oh, did you remember there was grass there? Oh, thanks for reminding me about the grass. And then the kids go off and do it. And this is where sometimes it feels really against the grain to allow kids to sit and draw for a long period of time. It is fine for them to sit and draw for a long period of time. In the past, I know there's been that case of, no, we focus on the writing and we just add a drawing to it for detail. The drawing is the big focus here. You want to see them drawing and you want to see them talking with their partner, with their group about it. Then I would go back and I modeled. I went to the racetrack just here, and then I encouraged the kids to add writing. This is kindy. If they don't want to try or attempt any writing, I'm not going to push them. And then everyone shares. And now the group of kids that I had were very shy about doing this. So we just went, we're not going to do that as a whole class. We're going to do that in small groups. And luckily we had enough teachers that we could roam and support the kids. And then it builds on each week. Now I'm going to get into detail with this in a second, but I'm just going to show you how it builds on and builds on lessons 1, 2, 3. So I'll get to detail in a second. I'm just going to show you how it's really similar. I've given you the learning intentions and success criteria charts that I make for each lesson. I'm giving you the other visual prompts that I had. There they are there. And this is the writing template when we got work samples. So we would normally do this in their books, but when I wanted to take a sample away for deep analysis, I give them the prompt, make a drawing, and then down the bottom they can add some writing here. And then let's just go back to the other ones now. So the other ones too, the Fine Motor Play program is quite simple. So that's just the program for you. The favorite food ice cream name one, this gets in more detail, but again I'll show you the program is the same. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. My scrolling is terrible today. Okay, all links are in there, all scripting is in there, prompt questions, they're all in there for you. The ice cream prompts are in here for you as well. And then the other one I've got is dog play. Again, lots of resources. There's pug, there's some differentiation prompts, there's the program for you, and again that writing template is there too. So let's just chat about how this looks. So all the programs and resources are in there. Your teachers, you can read them, I'm sure you'll understand it. I think I just want to paint that picture of the difference between a week where we build on things and a week where we do something separate. So one of the examples I saw in the professional learning, which isn't available anymore, I hope it comes back because it had some really good videos, was an example of a teacher demonstrating that they had a fish tank in their classroom and they were labeling. So this isn't always about writing sentences. It could be about writing lists. It could be about labeling. It could be about creating a recipe or instructions or something like that. It's just about using that process of draw, talk, write, share to engage in whatever it is that you are focusing on. So in this fish tank one, they would label, they would identify, and then the next day they would realize, hey, there's actually more in our fish tank than what we identified. There's lots of rocks, there's weeds, there's moss, that kind of thing. And now we're going to turn that into a sentence. Or then the next day we're going to identify that we actually know some personal information about fish and what they do and how they live and everything. And we're going to turn this sentence into a paragraph. That was a year 2 class, I think, that was doing it. So for me doing kindergarten, obviously I'm still looking at forming letters. We discovered throughout this process, though, that some of our kids can write sentences. So we've got some kids struggling to draw a stick figure and some kids that are able to write a sentence. So this is the difference that we're working with in the classroom and how great this process is for differentiation. So the racetrack one is one that builds on. We went down to the racetrack on one day and then we went down again the next day, but we brought out some equipment to add to it. And then on the third day, we watched a video about having a race somewhere that's not a racetrack. We built onto it, built our language, built the vocab, built our confidence around talking around it and enhancing those pictures as well. The other program that you'll see in there, which is the dog play one, which was me just printing pictures of a little pug-faced dog. I had video about my pug as well. That shared experience obviously is not playing with my dog, it's watching a video of the dog and playing with this little cardboard cutout of the dog. The kids went to groups, they had to pretend they were the dog and playing with it. Building on to that, we added things to it. So you'll see in the resources little printouts of like a dog bone, dog bowl, which I think may have been from Pig the Pug. So we watched Pig the Pug and then they had to try and, feed the dog the bone or things like that and still playing with it and then drawing from that experience of playing with the dog. The dog played with the bone, or the dog ate the bone, and eating it that way. That was done later in the year with kindy, so a little bit later in the term, so there was a few more skill sets there. One of the other programs that's in there though separates each day. So one day is all about my favorite food, and we watched a video of these kids eating a giant version of their favorite food. So there was a giant pizza, giant bowl of spaghetti, and the kids were just, oh my God, it's so giant. So the shared experience there was the video, and then I used that as a stimulus to say my favorite food is. The next day was completely different, had nothing to do with those favorite foods. We had on the interactive whiteboard one of those create your own ice creams. That link is in the program. So the kids got to pick what flavor ice cream. So kids are coming up and tapping the screen, and we're picking what the sundae looks like. And what I did was I screenshot what those visuals look like on the website, turn it into a resource to print out for each table, which you get. And then the kids could create their own sundae using that, and then we use that as a labeling activity, labeling chocolate, sprinkles, whatever. And if that meant just putting a squiggle, whatever they do, that's fine. The whole idea was just saying, if you want to add writing, this is what mine looks like, and seeing who would add to their writing and who would add that detail to their picture. And again, this is after I've modeled the drawing, my quick modeling of the drawing, my quick modeling of the writing, giving them more time to draw, talk, write, and share in their class. And then the last one of that week was writing a name, because we realized a lot of our kids can't write their name. So I made a name tag. You get to write your name and draw some of your favorite things. And we'd already provide some stimulus for that throughout the week by doing our favorite foods and looking at ice cream, which gave us that content area there to be able to talk about our favorite ice creams and favorite toppings and favorite ice cream places and things like that. So some of the kids did their favorite food and their favorite ice cream, and some were able to tap into other things that are their favorites and put it on their name tag. And then going on from there, we built onto fine motor activities, which was literally free play at a fine motor activity. So we had certain ones set out because our kids needed that. And then we wanted them to draw about their fine motor activity, write about their fine motor activity. And we did that same thing for the 3 days, but the kids just picked a different activity. So they might have done Play-Doh one day and then block building the next day, or Lego or something like that. So each day, still similar, but it's a different experience that they're writing about. And I can tell you, just in 3 weeks, the progress has been amazing, to the point now where we're actually going to target some kids for guided writing, because they've showed us that they've got those skills to be able to do that. Some of those parents really went full hard when they were in preschool, worried that they would start school behind everyone else. So now we've ended up with some bigger skills being demonstrated in kindy, and some skills not being demonstrated. So it's going to be an interesting time moving forward with this process. Again, that allows a lot of flexibility though. So keep in mind, like I said, I'm not an expert on this pedagogy whatsoever. I did the readings, I did the PL, and I've been doing it with the teachers in the classroom, and it's been working really well for us. So if you've got any questions about it, please feel free to contact me. Utilize those resources. The programs should be fully editable, so you can go for gold and do what you need to with them. I'd highly recommend trying it even with year 1 or year 2, and just modifying how you take that approach, or what your expectations are in terms of what they're writing about. But keep in mind, the process really, really must be student-centered. It's got to be all about them talking, not you talking. Get them talking more and more about what they're doing, and get them adding to that drawing and writing. So I hope the resources are helpful for you. I will leave my subscription button below here if you haven't subscribed. Thumbs up is always greatly appreciated if you think this is helpful, and I'll leave another one of my videos at the top there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye.